Nostalgia. It's not just the name of a criminally underrated Andrei Tarkovsky film. Nostalgia is a fried chicken drumstick. If you ask my father, who is as old as dirt, dinosaur spit, and Vince Scully, about his favorite fried chicken joint of all time, he can't decide between Max's and Savory. Both restaurants rose from the ashes of post-World War II Manila on two distinct fried chicken recipes. Dad moved to the metro in the mid-1950s, and he often waxes lyrical of both places, fondly remembering the days when at either place he could eat two whole fried chickens by himself in one sitting with side dishes of fried gizzards and livers. No rice at all. Many years later, Max's expanded worldwide, including our old neck of the woods in California, and we both found Max's to be so-so at best, in the States and in the Philippines. Savory didn't go through the spin cycle of time unscathed either, as the family business split into two brands, Classic Savory and Original Savory. There are more than 100 Classic Savory branches nationwide, predominantly within the three big malls, SM, Ayala, and Robinsons, whereas Original Savory branches are fewer, and the old-time patrons swear that Original is miles better than Classic. In today's video, we're dining at the Classic Savory at Robinsons Ilocos Place in San Nicolas, Ilocos Norte, and it's the second time we had Classic Savory in the Philippines. We were satisfied with our first visit to Classic Savory at Venice Grand Mall in BGC, and Dad said the chicken was up to snuff, reminiscent of the original in Quiapo. Will Classic Savory be as good the second time around? This time way up north in the Ilocos Norte? Let's find out. Looks like with their noodles they have kikiam. It's like bagnet, Dad? Really? It's really good? I'll get this piece here. This looks like kikiam, it's not bagnet. Oh. I didn't know you could put kikiam in noodles. The skin is really thin too. Oh, I just take the entire thing. There's definitely pork kikiam, it's not fish kikiam. The skin is really thin and crispy. A little bit crispy. It was good. When we went to Savory the first time, we had like what they call long life pancit canton. Now this is Mickey Bihon Guisado. They're really known for their fresh Mickey noodles. That's why you should get it. There you go. There, it's a bit more split now, I guess. That's salt and pepper squid. Oh, you know what that is? It's salt and pepper spare ribs. Let's see, salt and pepper squid. So this chop suey, fried rice. I know what I always get. Thigh and drumstick. And it's got the butt next to it. So I have to use you. Was that a really Herculean effort there? Let's see, salt and pepper squid. That squid reminds me of eating squid crackers. In a good way. And then it has a bouncy sort of texture with the nice crispness of the batter. Before getting into the chicken, I think I'll try the pancit Mickey and Bihon. So there's two different types of noodles. One is much thicker, and then the other is glass noodle or Bihon. And I love the contrast between Bihon and Mickey. So you have like the thinner mung bean noodle contrasted with a thicker, meatier, fresh Mickey noodle. And it doesn't feel dry, but it soaks up all the sauce that it's immersed in. Reduces nicely. It's got a good mouthfeel. That's what I think was most important to me as far as pancit goes. Is it must have the right mouthfeel of noodle, right ratio of vegetables. You don't want too many, in my opinion. Okay, now then. Most important business is the chicken. That is the most famous part. This chicken, one characteristic is it's crispy. It feels glassy. You know what I mean? It feels like it's really thin, crispy. And the drumstick just came right off. No one's dipped in that gravy, so I'll do that myself. And of course, in the Philippines, fried chicken and gravy is really a thing. Alright, first bite. So wafting through the air, you can smell the Chinese 5-spice that's in the chicken. It's really like the predominant flavor of this chicken, especially even with the meaty gravy. Now I've had the one in Venice Grand Mall. Based off this drumstick, I think the one. Now this is the risk always with franchises and such. You kind of have like inconsistencies in quality. And the first time I had savory here in the Philippines was at Venice Grand Mall in BGC, and chicken there was moist, really flavorful. This has about the same flavor. It's probably tried the thigh. It's a little bit on the dry side. Yeah, it's a tad bit on the dry side. The flavor is spot on though. It does taste like kind of like Peking duck, kind of like with 5-spice powder. That's one of the magical thing about how they get the chicken here. It's just that the skin is like glass thin and crunches right through. This tastes a lot like 5-spice powder. It almost tastes kind of rich because of the almost like a Peking duck sort of taste. The gravy itself is meaty, but it's very neutral tasting. Get some satisfying crunch from the skin. So I'll say that I was surprisingly wowed by the savory chicken there at or the Classic Savory in Venice Grand Mall. The flavors here at this local branch here in San Nicolas, here in Ilocos, pretty much spot on. It's just a tad on the dry side. Alright, I'm trying to try this. I was incorrect. This is salt and pepper spare rib. It's not salt and pepper squid. I think this is some vinegar, but it doesn't really have that acidity. It doesn't really have that sharpness that you would think of vinegar. It's a nice thin batter on that spare rib. Got a nice piece of fat with that there. It tastes a little sweet though. Okay, back to that salt and pepper squid. You see, nice crunchy batter. It feels light. Good deal of meat. But I think there's a good proportion of squid meat to batter. But yeah, it's, you know, not off-putting at all. It's like springy squid, nicely fried. Again, it's not like heavily battered, so that's good. Yeah, that's salt and pepper squid. Okay, chop suey time. I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like, because one time I had savory, so this is the second time having savory in the Philippines. I remember their pancit portion is massive. I don't know if it was just me. There you go. And of course, if you're eating this much meat, you should have some vegetables. It's nice and crisp, it's sweet. Good contrast with everything else. One thing I did not try, I think it's yang chow fried rice. I forget which fried rice. It's practically the same as far as the savory fried rice and the yang chow fried rice. For me, it looks like yang chow. There's a nice suppleness to that rice, but personally, the satisfying thing is getting little crisp edges and such. For me, I like my fried rice with a little more char, a little more of a burnt contrast, personally. The texture's good. There's a little Chinese sausage flavor permeating through. And this is the aftermath of all the food slaying. We can just have it now. I will say this though. Service is painfully slow. Now, normally I hate being negative about these things. And usually, like, going to any restaurant, you expect it to be quite slow, right? This here is like not just slow, but sometimes they just don't get the instruction right. It's piping hot though. And we asked for the bill, the funny thing was, and then just then they brought out the salt and pepper squid encore to be like, this is the best thing at Savory. It just so happened to be. Because they didn't have fish fillet, but they had salt and pepper squid. This is pretty dang good. I mean, they taste like squid crackers, but like I was saying, in a good way. It's just, it's the batter is perfect. As far as like the... Uncle Angel doesn't eat squid. So, okay, on that note. But he should, because this is pretty dang good. You know, that's light flaky batter. So there's a lot of squid meat. And the squid meat is fresh and it's springy. It became hot off the fryer. So that's why I let it cool for a little bit. So Dad here thought that everything was good. Everything was good. All the food was good. He didn't think the chicken was good, though. Now, personally, I think the flavor is good. It's spot on. It's just like the one we had in Venice. But, you know, for me, the big nitpick is that it was dry. But the pancit was good. The chop suey is good. The salt and pepper spare ribs were good. The salt and pepper squid is the best thing we got here. Out of the 5 or 6 things we got. Oh, the fried rice was good too, I have to admit, as well. And I'm not a fried rice person by any means. Now, if you watch my videos, you know I love complaining. So, I already told you the service was slow, sometimes ineffective, but the portions are on the small side. And for this big size American, I think the portion size is not as great for what you get in the price. Personally, that's what I think. If you get a half or whole chicken, you're almost paying American prices, I think. Talking about $10 a pop. A little over that. 525 pesos for a whole chicken. And I think the quality depends on what savory you go to. So, one we had at Venice was moister. This one is dry. The flavors are pretty much the same. So Dad really likes the squid too. And he's very finicky about squid. And the garnish to this is pretty tasty. There's some peppers, some garlic. It's actually the best thing. So, pair it up with those peppers, pair it up with that. Overall, I think it's good. I think there are probably a few other dishes that we didn't get, like the patatim, for example. Maybe you should try next time. But on the whole, I recommend going to Savory. They're a classic Savory. And again, the service, the quality, I think will vary a little bit. Or quite a bit, depending on where you are. And there are like 70 or 80 locations nationwide. So, I mean, quite a variance you might find. So, next time you come to Classic Savory, don't sleep on the salt and pepper squid. This is actually the best thing you can get. Believe it or not. And I guess it depends on which location we go to. It might be the patatim, it might be the lechon Macau, whatever. So on. And of course, for another day, hopefully when you go back to Manila, we'll try the original Savory at Escolta Street, which is really the location since 1950. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Better yet, subscribe for more food and travel videos and some other interesting, weird stuff. Signing off from Savory Chicken in Robinsons Ilocos. Remember, Empire never ended.